I'm going to be showing you how to do a double knit button band without having to pick up your stitches first. This particular application is the method that I am using to knit up my sand cardigan by Maria Isaieva, and that cardigan features a folded hem, which is why I have a folded hem here, just to make that a little bit easier to see. But we're going to start with our double pointed needles first and our yarn to cast on for the button band. So let's get this out of the way for right now. We're going to use an Italian cast on to cast on for this double knitted button band. You want to make sure that you're casting on with an odd number of stitches, and we're casting on the wrong side. So we're going to start and end with a purl so that the right side starts and ends with a knit stitch. To cast on, you're going to want to leave a bit of a tail, and you're going to wrap your yarn around your index and your index finger and your thumb, just like this. So you are holding the tails in the rest of your fingers, but you're going to be utilizing your index finger and your thumb to cast onto your double pointed needle. To begin, you're going to insert your needle on top of the yarn. You're going to push down, and with that, you're going to twist away. So if you want to see that again, you're going to insert the needle down, wrap around, and twist. This is going to be our first stitch, like I said, your purl stitch on the wrong side. So now we're going to start by casting on a knit stitch. And in order to do that, you're going to draw your needle forward under the yarn from your thumb, scoop the yarn from your index finger, and come back around. So that's one knit. Now we're going to purl. To purl, and you'll notice I like to use my index finger to hold those stitches on the needle so that they don't slip slide anywhere. But now to cast on our purl stitch, we're going to go the opposite way. So we knit forward, we're going to purl back, and we're going to go backwards with the needle underneath both of your index finger and your thumb yarn, come back and twist. As you go, you're going to see the bumps forming underneath your needle here. If you're not giving it enough tension, that's when they tend to kind of swim around and you'll lose your track. So we're going to continue with knit forward and purl back. So knit forward, again, looks like this. Needle comes forward, under the thumb yarn, scoops the index, and brings that back under the thumb yarn. That's a knit. So now we're going to purl, which is purl back. So you're going to bring the needle backwards under both your index and thumb yarn, and then like a figure 8 back under the index. Make sure you give that good twist so that your bumps are appearing underneath the needle here. And let's just do it one more time. So we're going to knit forward, needle comes forward, under the thumb, over the index, scoop back under the thumb, give that good twist, and purl back. Under the index, under the thumb, over the thumb, scoop the index, and watch now when I twist how that moves down that bump. Beautiful. All right, so like I said, you're going to do this for as many stitches as you like, however many it says in your pattern, just keeping in mind that you're going to want to have an odd number of stitches so that your first and last stitch at cast on are a purl and your first and last stitch at the right side are a knit. At this point, just make sure that you don't lose this last stitch on your needle while you are turning around to the other side. So you can give the yarn over here just an extra little twist to ensure that that's not going anywhere. So we're going to turn the work around and grabbing our second double pointed needle, make sure that you don't lose that first stitch. So right now I have the tail kind of in my thumb on my left hand, and that way I have the working yarn available. Now remember, we're on the right side now, and we started with a purl, which means that on the right side, our first stitch is going to be a knit. So this is where we're going to start the actual double knitting process. Make sure that you're holding your tail secure so that you don't lose it. And we're going to start with a knit. For the purl, you're going to hold your yarn in front and slip one. Bring the yarn to the back and knit. Yarn forward, slip one. You'll continue knit one, slip one until you have one stitch left on your needle. So again, knit one and slip one. We have one stitch left now. So go ahead and bring your yarn to the back of your work. And this is where things are going to be different because we're doing this double knit button band without picking up stitches. The first thing that you're going to do is slip this stitch as if to knit to your other needle. There we go. So all of your stitches are now on your right hand needle. This is where things, I think, tend to get a little bit confusing because as you can see, we have the bottom edge of our work here, the folded edge, and we're working our double knit button band up this side. To start though, you're actually going to hold the work so that the bottom hem is facing the right. And the first stitch that we're going to be working into is going to be as far down on this edge as you can manage. So before we do that, we need to do a yarn over on that right hand needle. So you slip to the last knit stitch, you do a yarn over, and now we're going to insert wherever you're going to be picking up your stitches. Because this is a folded edge, we have to go through 2 layers of fabric. Insert, you're going to wrap the yarn around just like you would if you were picking up stitches normally, and you're going to pull that yarn up through. Now, to secure this stitch onto the needle, you're actually going to be picking up the yarn over as well as that last stitch that you slipped with your left hand needle. So I've inserted into the last 2 stitches there. I'm going to hold the yarn in the back secure so that I don't lose my newly picked up stitch. And I'm going to slip those both over. You can see now that we have just secured the first stitch, and this is how the button band is going to form. But of course, first we need to knit the wrong side. So turn your work. And the first stitch we have here, it's going to become more visible now, is that purl bump, which means that we slip. Sorry, the cotton's a little sticky on the bamboo needles. With the yarn in front and then yarn in back, knit one, slip one with yarn in front, knit one, slip one with yarn in front, knit one, slip your final stitch with that yarn in front, turn. Again, this looks a little confusing when you're just starting because you are tending to work with the bottom edge facing to the right instead of working it actually parallel to the double knit button band, but you just kind of need that to be out of the way. And we're really just going to continue those 2 rows for the whole duration of the button band. So again, knit 1, bring yarn forward, slip 1, yarn goes back, knit 1, yarn forward, slip 1, yarn back, knit 1, yarn forward, slip 1 until you have 1 stitch remaining on your needle. Make sure that your yarn returns to the back of your work. And now we're going to slip 1 knitwise. So just like that. At this point, you're going to yarn over and we're going to pick up our next stitch. The same way that you would if you were just picking up stitches for your button band. So inserting your needle into the next stitch over or at whatever rate your pattern tells you to, you're going to scoop up the yarn, so wrap around the needle and scoop it up through the work the same way you would if you were just picking up stitches. The only difference is that now, while holding on to this working yarn, you're going to scoop up your yarn over and that slipped knit stitch and cast them off over the picked up stitch that you have on the needle. Just like that. Like I said, now you turn your work and you're going to continue to knit those 2 rows all the same until you get to the very end. So slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, turn your work. The hardest thing about these double knit button bands is that in the beginning, they really don't look like anything. And basically, once you get a good inch of button band done, that's when it really does start to look like a button band. So it is a little bit of a trust the process situation. Let's just do this one more time. So as per usual with double knitting, we are knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1 with yarn in front, knit 1, slip 1 with yarn in front, knit 1, slip 1 with yarn in front until you have 1 stitch left, which you're going to slip knitwise, just like so. Don't forget your yarn over. And then you're going to pick up the next stitch just like so. While holding on to your working yarn, you're going to cast off the last yarn over and that slipped knit stitch. Just like this. There you go. I'm going to knit this wrong side row just to be able to show you. So at this point, yarn in front, slip 1, move yarn to the back, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1. As you continue, you'll be working that double knit button band straight up the edge. And as you continue with the double knitting, everything does kind of tend to sit in place a little bit better, you'll obviously have to weave in the end. And the nice thing is that if you feel like your pickup rate is off, if you feel like you're picking up too many stitches and you're getting a rippling effect, or you're not picking up enough stitches and you're getting a little bit of a contortion on the double knit button band, then you just have to tear out the last couple of rows that you've done rather than having to go back to square one and pick up the button bands all over again. I'm going to show you how this looks after having done it for quite a while on my sand cardigan. So here we have it on the right side. This has not yet been blocked, but we can anticipate that when it is blocked, all of this will kind of smooth out a little bit. This is our bottom edge where we did the Italian cast on. And then on the wrong side, it looks just as beautiful coming up the edge of that reverse stockinette. And this is where it's at right now. So all of this has been work, and that's how you knit a double knit button band without having to pick up stitches first.